we're back with another episode of The Future Starts Here, Say Yes Buffalo podcast. And today I'm so excited because we are interviewing another Say Yes alum. And actually, they don't live here anymore, so this is going to be a different type of story, but I'm excited to speak with him. His name is Dr. Nicholas Irion. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good. Happy to be here.
Good.
Excited to see you. It's been a while.
Long time.
Yes, a long time.
Good.
So, we're going to get right into it because we want to hear your story. And thank you for being able to just be with us today. So I know you're in between traveling, so this is exciting. So first, just tell me about where you grew up at. I know you're born and raised in Buffalo, obviously. To be able to get the scholarship, you have to have lived in Buffalo, New York. So where'd you grow up at?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, I grew up right up the street here. I went to St. Luke Amy Zion Church right here on East Ferry Street. Was a part of the Omega Gens program, which is right here at John B. Wiley. So the east side of Buffalo is my home. It's what I know. So that's my foundation. That's my upbringing. And, it's good to be back home and see a lot of familiar places and faces as well. So yeah, growing up here, I went to Makowski, ECC right here on Jefferson and Best. Then I went to Harvey Austin, one of the first students at Harvey Austin for middle school. And then from there, went on to Hutch Tech, where we were focusing on architectural engineering. And then from there, on to Buff State. So, I'm a Buffalo guy through and through, and always proud to call Buffalo home.
Yes. So I do have to ask you, since you've been here, right? Have you went to any of your favorite food places?
Of course, yeah.
Where'd you go?
So on Friday, one of my former students who plays for the Bills right now, he and I went to Gabriel's Gate. He had never been there before, and it's one of my favorite. When I was here, one of my favorite spots to get wings. Of course, that you got your Duffs, your Anchor Bar.
Yeah,
That's commercialized. I need some real good wings, a real good chill spot. So Gabriel's Gate was one of my spots. So I went there on Friday. My cousins own a restaurant here in Buffalo called Manna. And so I was able to go there on Saturday. That's right. Yeah, shout out to Manna. With cousin Chef Reggie. I was able to go there on Saturday. And then yesterday, went to the family's house. They had nothing like a good home cooked meal. I live in Durham, and I say this all the time. Like, food is great in Durham, but it's nothing like coming home to a good home cooked meal. So my family cooked yesterday, Sunday dinner, right after church. We had a good time fellowship. But last evening, hanging with the bros, I was like, I need some Jim Steakout before I get up out of here.
You lost me.
Jim Steak. Nah, come on. You went to Hutch Tech. Come on.
You lost me.
Going over there on Chippewa, going to Jim Steakout. That was our spot back in the day.
That was years ago, though.
It was, but
Jim
still.
Steakout is not the same. Okay, did it hit?
It did. Not the same way it used to. I ain't gonna lie. Not the same way it used to. Maybe it's because I've been going so long. But Jim Steakout. And then today I'm going to Costas for lunch. I always love a good Greek restaurant while I'm here.
Okay.
Then I'm on the road.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, I agree with everything else you said, except you lost me at Jim Steakout. We don't take our visit. I mean, you're not a visitor, but we don't take people to Jim Steakout here.
Okay. What were you taking them to?
Like you said, Manna is nice. Costas is nice. Gabriel's Gate is also nice. But, you didn't name any pizza places. I thought you were going to name a pizza spot.
Yeah.
Everybody comes back home to go to a La Nova's or a Franco's or a Bachi's.
It's funny that you say that, because now that you say that, I need to go get some pizza. Because I hadn't thought about that. I was so focused on wings when I got here, because living in North Carolina, you cannot find good wings.
Oh, wow.
It's hard to find. You can find subpar pizza, but wings is what I was focused on. So now that you say that, I'm going to have to stop at a pizza place on my way out, because that's definitely important. What's your favorite spots?
So you can't really ask me because, as everybody knows, if you're out there listening, I'm a picky eater. I put pickles on my chicken hoagie.
What?
So
on your chicken hoagie, okay.
Yes, on my chicken hoagie. Okay. No, on my chicken hoagie. And
Are you from Buffalo?
I am, and I like ranch on my wings. So you can't really ask me what I like to eat. You can't really ask me what I like to eat, but I like a good taco spot. Okay. So it's not really, the newer one is La Fiesta over here. It's on Alum, so you should try that out. Okay. But I can't really give you any other good spots because I'm picky. Or Golden Corner on Delavan in Jefferson. That's where I get my chicken hoagies from. So there,
ask somebody else afterwards.
Don't ask Jamil. But yes, okay. So I'm happy that you talked about the East Side. You said born and raised, me as well. So let's get into, obviously, the post-secondary education, right? So we know you went to Harvey Austin, you went to Makowski, and you went to the best high school in town, Hutch Tech. What made you choose Buff State as your college?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, while I was in high school, my mother had a massive stroke. and it paralyzed her on her left side.
Wow.
I had never planned, just being honest, fully transparent, I never planned on being in Buffalo that long. After Hutch Tech, everybody knows me. I was ready to get out of Buffalo.
Yeah.
I was out of here.
Yeah.
And my mother had a stroke. It paralyzed her, so I stayed home to take care of her. And so at the time, like, okay, who's going to accept me and who's going to give me money?
Yeah, that was the
And
biggest
so
part.
Buffalo State was the school that accepted me and gave me money, of course, with Say Yes. But I was on my way to Howard. I was about here. I was going to Howard for undergrad. I had went on a college tour with the Omega Gents to Howard, and I fell in love with the school. I said, this is where I need to be.
Yeah.
I was excited about it. Life changes. I'm grateful for the journey, though, because I think going to Buffalo State certainly grounded me, and it taught me a lot that I may not have been able to handle had I rushed to Howard, right? And so that's what made me choose Buff State. I went in there as an education major, as a general education major, and then ended up switching to music education. I was a musician for most of my life. I had taken music lessons. And so I switched to music education and graduated with a music ed degree, hopefully wanting to be a music teacher, and that journey's quickly shifted.
Wow. Okay. So I don't want to stick on the music part, but like, were you a church musician too? Because you know what they say about church musicians?
What they say?
They have bad reps.
I don't know what they got. Nah, I'm not your average church musician.
I love that. I love that. So I'm happy that you talked about going into education, right? Because obviously that's what Say Yes Buffalo was founded on in the scholarship. So what did the scholarship do for you? I know you said that you stayed home, obviously, because of something big that you had to stay home for. But what did the scholarship do for you while you were at Buff State?
Yeah, so it certainly gave me the research that I needed to finish. School is not cheap, and going to Buffalo State was certainly a help. I didn't realize how beneficial the scholarship was until after my first semester. I was meeting with financial aid office, and I was like, okay, so what do I need to do? This is all new to me. I'm a first generation student. So nobody in my family had ever been to college. This is all new to me. So I'm learning this. This is what we call the hidden curriculum, right? These are things that we just don't know. And so I remember I randomly came to the Say Yes office on Main Street at the time.
Yes.
And I met with Betsy.
Yes.
And I was telling her about what I need to do for Say Yes. I know you all are new. And she said, oh, you're a student at Buff State? I said, yes. Within a day, everything was taken care of.
Wow. Wow.
Right. And it taught me how to navigate the Buffalo State school system, the university system, et cetera. Right. And next thing you know, I'm like a Say Yes ambassador. I mean, with Say Yes on a regular, and they're helping me navigate. And then now in return, I'm helping students navigate their journey at Buff State. And then we end up building at the time a Say Yes Bridge program for high school students who are coming to Buffalo State for college. So myself and Stan Simmons, who's at at Buff State, we built that program out from the ground up and helped students navigate their journey through Buff State, so that some of the mistakes I made, we were able to correct for future students.
Wow.
And that's why it was a big resource for me.
Wow. Yeah, I think that's so important because I think even now, like, we have a lot of Say Yes scholars or Say Yes alum who don't really take advantage of all the opportunities that's literally at our fingertips when it comes to Say Yes Buffalo. Would you agree that Say Yes Buffalo is way more than a scholarship, right?
Absolutely.
And it really changes lives. And I'm happy that you talked about the things that you were able to do just by getting the scholarship and then be able to create some of your own things like the bridge program at Buff State. Like, that's amazing. And I think a lot of other schools need it because, like I said, a lot of Say Yes scholars and alum don't take advantage of it, but some don't know that they're scholars. So it's like, being able to have like a small hub or a person they can contact and say, hey, are you following up on this? Are you making sure you're doing this? Ambassadorship is so important, but as well as representation too. Like having young men of color is so important to see as well because young men of color need to see that now. Like you doing different things and seeing that it's possible to go to post-secondary school and to do some things on your own. You also went to Duke shortly after, right? So when did you make that shift to just say, like, okay, I'm going to further my education after Buff State?
Yeah. So actually, I went to Michigan State first.
Okay.
I went to Michigan State for my master's in educational leadership. And that's really where I really refined and defined at the same time what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to make an impact in the lives of others. I just didn't know how I was going to do it. Michigan State gave me another ride to go there and get my master's in educational leadership. And so I ended up becoming a school administrator for a little while. Then I was at Buffalo State as an administrator, and I was pastoring here in Buffalo at the same time at Centennial Amy Zion Church over on Dote Street. And I'm like, okay, This is going well. I was there for 2 years as a senior pastor, and I always enjoyed my journey as a pastor, as a minister. And my mother passed away in 2016.
Oh, wow.
And I had been thinking for a couple of years, God, what is next? Where am I going next? I've been praying about it. I'm a man of faith, of course. So I've been praying about it. And I randomly was at Duke visiting a good friend of mine who was finishing up the divinity school and preached that weekend. And he and his friends made sure I got a tour of the divinity school while I was there in town. I'd always been a Duke basketball fan.
Yeah.
Like, always. So it was like a dream come true. So I'm meeting with administrators. I'm meeting with the admissions office. And I'm like, the South, I don't know about. I don't know about. I'm a Buffalonian through and through.
Yeah.
The South, I don't know about. Came back home. I was like, you know what? I want to go and further my journey, but I wanted to go to PhD route. And so I started applying to PhD programs everywhere and started getting denied, started getting waitlisted.
Oh, wow.
All the above, right? And then the Methodist, I'm AME Zion, so in the Methodist tradition, my bishop said, you need to go to divinity school. I'm like, I already have a master's degree. I want to go to PhD route. I want to be somebody's professor. I want to chill, write books, all that. He said, no, but get your theological education first. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I applied to Princeton. Princeton was like, okay, bring you on a visit. I applied to Yale. Yale waitlisted me. Princeton, I didn't hear back from Princeton until 2 weeks after I was at Duke already. Duke called me and said, hey, we would love to have you here, and we'll give you a 65% scholarship.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, there's no way. I'm leaving Buffalo, my home, my family, a good job, and a good church for a 65% scholarship. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
A day later, they called me back. They said, we're going to give you a full ride to Duke, and we're going to make you a Martin Luther King Scholar.
Wow.
Right. So I was one of the last of the Martin Luther King Scholars at Duke University. So my whole tuition was taken care of. And I prayed about it once again, talked to the leaders at the church, and, next thing you know, I'm at Duke. That was 8 years ago.
Oh, wow. That's
and
amazing.
I'm still there. I have graduated, of course, since then, but now teaching there, have been a university administrator there, have mentored countless students there. So Durham in North Carolina has become home for me. Buffalo will always be home, of course, but I've built so much of a community in Durham. And so, really it was all faith that took me to North Carolina. I did not, you can ask any of my friends, even after my first year at Duke, I had fallen in love with the place, but I was still ready to go.
I mean, you started off at wanting to go to Howard.
Yeah.
That was your biggest thing. And then you ended up all the way in North Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, after my first year, I was calling around saying, where can I go? I got to get out of North Carolina. And then they did whatever they could to keep me there. And I'm grateful for the journey. I'm grateful that I stayed in North Carolina because it's certainly been good for me and my journey.
Yeah. So let's talk about Duke too, because you're also a professor there, correct? What are you teaching there?
So I've taught a variety of courses there. But right now I'm focusing on African-American music as one course. And then the other course is called Formation for Ministry. And that's within the Divinity School, where we're certainly walking with students, helping them define what their spiritual journey can be, giving them spiritual guidance, all the formation they need on their journey while they're in Divinity School. Because in Divinity School, you're studying a lot, you're doing a lot, you're going here, you're practicing there, you're preaching, but nobody really takes the time to focus on your spiritual walk. Nobody really takes the time to see what does ministry look like beyond the four walls of a congregation. What does ministry look like if you don't want to be somebody's pastor? There are so many different ways in ministry. And when people think about divinity school or theological education, they think, oh, you're just going to school to be a preacher. And it's so much more than that. And so that's what my course is designed to show you the different ways that you can navigate ministry, but also how do you take care of yourself on your spiritual journey.
Well, it sounds like throughout your educational journey, you've been able to combine like a few of your passions, right? So music, education, and then ministry, right? All together, and then instilling that into other people or to other young people, right? So it looks like your journey has been a true blessing, like getting full rides everywhere. It's what it seems like. And I think that is so amazing because like I said before, representation really counts. But then you also talked about like a piece, like you didn't say it specifically, but endurance, right? Having to enduring certain seasons and then just waiting until it all comes together. And like you said, you're grateful that you stayed because you wanted to leave. But imagine if you would have went to Howard, how much different your life would have been. You think about that often?
I do quite a bit. You know, in my mind, I graduated from Howard, honestly. You know, you can't tell me nothing when I go to Howard's homecoming. You would think I'm an alum. I wear Howard alum stuff. Like,
Oh my
I don't know. I'm
goodness.
playing with you. Ain't no perping over here. But
Oh my gosh.
no, I go to Howard's homecoming. I have so many friends throughout the
Mhm.
years that I've met who have graduated from Howard, and they often tell me how going to Howard was one of the best decisions they made.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I wish I had did that. But
Mhm.
also, I'm grateful that I went to Buff State
Yeah.
because I was able to navigate my journey and build my own community.
Yeah.
But then also, like some of my closest friends, Amber, my
Mhm.
boy Dwight, who's now a lawyer in
Yeah.
Georgia,
Yep.
we would travel to Howard's homecoming while we were in undergrad.
Oh wow.
You know, we were at Buff State. Amber was at Howard at first,
Yeah,
and so
she
we would go
was.
visit her. We would just go kick it, you know,
Mhm.
get a hotel room. There weren't Airbnbs at the time. We were all broke college students, but we found our way to Howard. And we somehow had money for the weekend, right?
Yeah.
And that was our little escape to get a taste of that.
Mhm.
And so I'm grateful for Buffalo State. I don't have any regrets not going to Howard because
Mhm.
I ended up teaching at Howard later on, right? And so I do think about how life may have been,
Yeah.
but I also don't stay in that mindset at the
Yeah.
same
You
time.
can't.
Yeah,
You can't. Plus, I think
because
you're doing an amazing job.
I appreciate that.
Yes. So let's talk about currently what you're doing, right? So you're an educational consultant and you're independent contractor, right? So tell me, how did you get there? How did you start with that?
Yeah. So my journey has been so unique. I'll
Mhm.
use that word. Was a music teacher for a little while, university administrator, and then of course a pastor. While I was pastoring, I started a nonprofit,
Okay.
right? And so leading a nonprofit, you have to fundraise.
Yeah,
And
a
so I
lot of
learned,
fundraising.
how to fundraise really early, and I became pretty good at it, right? And so I started doing all that, and I started leading partnerships, for Duke University, and doing a lot of great things in administration, bridging the gap between Duke and Durham, but then also pastoring in Fayetteville, bridging and Irwin, North Carolina, bridging the gap between community and church. And so I learned how to navigate those spaces. And so I ended up going over to American Cancer Society, leading strategic partnerships and being one of the fundraisers for them. And then shortly after, government came in,
Mhm.
president did what he did, right? And so I began consulting with an educational firm out of Chicago. They found me and saw the work that I was doing. They said, hey, we have an educational search firm. Would you want to do some consulting for us? So I started consulting with them and I really enjoyed it. But then also I thought about the connection I had with American Cancer Society. And so I ended up going independent.
Mhm.
Several organizations reached out to me and said, hey, can you help us with strategic planning? Can you help us with uh, finding a certain leader for our organization? Can you help us with fundraising? Can you help us with building out our organization?
Mhm.
And so I ended up developing my own consulting firm
Yeah.
that I'm running to this day. And it gives me flexibility. It gives me time to work for myself on top of my teaching at Duke. And it allows me to use all of my unique experiences to help other organizations thrive and flourish and build. And that's what I'm about at this point in
Yeah.
life. And so that's what I enjoy doing right now on top of, the work that I'm doing at Duke, of course. I was sharing with some people yesterday, some brothers yesterday, that one of my greatest joys is being a consultant because I can use my experiences and help
Mhm.
others grow, but also I get to learn from them at the same time because
Mhm.
that growth mindset is really big. But also, one of my greatest joys, since I'm not pastoring anymore,
Yeah.
my ministry right now is teaching, but also pouring into the lives of many others.
Mhm.
Um, when I was preaching yesterday, they read my bio. I'm not really big on folks reading my bio. It's like, okay, God has been good. At the same time, humility is a big thing. Yet when they were reading my bio, they were saying that he's mentored so many students down the years,
Mhm.
and I'm grateful to say today, as a reflect, one of my former students just got married last month. He's playing for Green Bay Packers, and
Mhm.
at his wedding, so many of his classmates came back, and I'm thinking like, wow, you're a lawyer, you're a politician, you're a school teacher, you're a public servant, you're in the NFL, you're in the
Mhm.
NBA. We're watching the NBA game last night, and I'm like, those are two of my students on the screen, right?
Mhm. So
Um,
seeing the fruits of your
so I'm
labor.
seeing like, wow,
Yeah.
this has been a great journey, and I've been able to impact so many young people down the years. That keeps me grounded.
Mhm.
That keeps me going. That
Yeah.
keeps me knowing that you are called for a purpose,
Yeah.
and I'm living that purpose.
Yeah.
Um, like yesterday, Dwayne, who plays for the Bills, he came by to see me, and everybody's like, "That was your student?" I said, "Yeah, that's my guy." They said, "He came here to see you." he's a Buffalo Bills player. I said, yeah, but he's still like, that's my guy right there, right? And then as he was leaving, his what we call in the frat, his Neo, because Dwayne is my frat brother as well. Neo calls me, who's about to probably get drafted this week. He's getting ready for the draft. He calls me and we talk on the phone. I'm like, this is the things that I love. These are the things I love. Being able to mentor and pour into so many others. I can't even count how many.
I was gonna say, so I'm happy that you talked about mentorship, right?
Yeah.
Because I do want to ask you, so who are your mentors? If you can name 3, because I know you probably have a lot. If you could just name 3, and what they did for you in your life. Obviously, you've come this far, and like you have an amazing story. You've been able to mentor others because of it. So tell me who your 3 are.
Yeah. So let's start here in Buffalo. I was part of Megagen's program. So Cedric Holloway, who led that program, was the one who exposed me to higher education, right? That was our program was built on that. And so because I didn't grow up in a family of college educated people, you know, I knew I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And Ced really pushed the importance of striving and going forward, but also my church members, of course. I had a lot of college educated people at my church. In my church, a lot of deltas, right? And so they're pushing like education. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this thing, right? So that's one. Muriel Howard, she formerly was the president of Buffalo State back in the day. She taught me and showed me what it meant to be a school administrator, how to go get it, how to make a change, how to keep people grounded. So she is certainly a great leader who I look at quite a bit. That's 2. And then currently I can't necessarily name one more because I have so many older faculty members at Duke and in Durham and the North Carolina area who are pouring into me today. And I think that's important for me as I continue to pour into others. I want to also add this piece in here as well, that I still go to therapy. Right? Because there's a lot of things that I wrestle with. And as you're mentoring, you're also releasing a lot. And you're still dealing with your own stuff. And so for me going to therapy, I know that's not a mentor, but my therapist, she is amazing. Shout out to Black women, right? She is amazing. She corrects me. She lets me know when I'm right, lets me know when I'm wrong, shows me which way I should go. And I think mentoring is great, but that component, I don't know if I would be here if I'm not sitting on her couch.
So would you combine the 2?
I would combine
mentorship and therapy.
I would, absolutely.
Okay.
And I don't think that's
that
talked about enough.
It's not. It's not. I would have never, well, not that I would have never thought to pair the 2, but you just don't think about the 2 together. Because like you said, we're doing a lot of the releasing and the pouring into, and we're not focused on getting poured back into, we kind of just wait until, like you talked about before, the fruits of the labor to come together and you see it. But then it's just like, I guess even for me, because I'm a mentor as well, I just told you that we just came back from a college tour. I had to do like a self-reflection and was like, okay, I'm a little poured out. But so I do understand that. But I like that. Therapy and mentorship. I'll keep that in my back pocket. So the other thing too is you talked about the mentorship that you have or the colleagues that you have as far as faculty goes, right? Now obviously I do. There's not a lot of, Black men as professors, right? So can you talk about that perspective for me a little bit?
Yeah, as far as what exactly?
Like being a man of color at Duke and a man of faith too, as a professor.
Yeah, you're right. There's not a lot of us at Duke, which is why I'm still at Duke, right? This is why I do the work that I do at Duke. This is why I run the Black men's organization that I do at Duke, because I try to keep us together as possible. Duke is a massive organization. Right? Beyond the university, it's a massive institution, right? And there's so many people, and it's easy to get lost. It's easy to get stuck in your own bubble. And because I'm an extrovert, because I am the way who I am, and I am the way God made me, I'm always going out. I'm always seeking to find out ways that we can pour into the other brothers that are on campus, right? The other sisters that are on campus. So like all the brothers on campus, we get together on a regular basis as far as faculty and staff and administration. We get together as much as possible, whether it's just kicking it during the week. But for me, it's what I try to do is a weekly Sunday dinner at my house. I love to grill. That's one of my favorite things. And so on Sundays, I'm grilling. Football team is over there. Different Black men on campus are at my house kicking it. They know they're going to get good food. We're going to watch some games. If the Bills are playing, if we lose, they know it's a sad day in town, right? But That's just how I operate. And then I invite my faculty colleagues over, like come kick it with us, because I need the students to see you have somebody in your community,
Yeah.
right? If something is going on, right or wrong, you have some folks who are in your corner. And so when I'm hosting my Sunday dinners, I'm saying you got uncles here on campus, you got big brothers here on
We
campus,
love
you
that.
got aunties here on campus that's going to take care of you. And so one of my students right now, he's a first year student at Duke. He runs track, and I had a holiday party at my house in December, and I invited him over, and he walked in. He's like, "Who are all these? Who are all these people?" And I said, "These are your aunties, uncles, big brothers, big sisters." He said, "Who are they?" I said, "These are all administrators at Duke." He said, "They are? I didn't know Duke had this many black women and black men." I said, "Yeah, and we're here to support you, whatever you need." And so
Wow.
now he's inviting his teammates, his friends over to the house. He's going to their offices and just checking in with them. Students just come to our offices and just do their homework and just kick it, right? Because that's who we are. We have open door policy. And if we're there and you just need space, come on in. That's how it was at Buff State as well. It used to drive my bosses crazy when I was at Buff State, but it's like, if my office is open, you just want to sit there and do homework,
Yeah.
go ahead and knock it out,
Yeah, I think
right?
that's so important though
And
too.
so,
Educational institutions, some of them lack that community piece, right? Or like we're into our own different silos based on maybe the sports you play or the majors, but being able to have a separate community where everybody may be different, come from different walks of life, and come together and just fellowship. And fellowship is so important. I think that's amazing that you started that at Duke and that was available for you at Buff State. So I guess it's going to go into my last question as well. So what impact do you want to leave, or do you pray about leaving on the community that you came from and the communities that you have created thus far?
absolutely. I think that's a great question. I know that's a great question. I don't know if I think about that often,
Mhm.
right? Because I just want to know that somebody was blessed,
Yeah.
somebody life was changed. Um, I'm not the easiest mentor. I can say that right now. That's a lot of tough love, right? So it's not for
Yeah.
everybody. Um, but I just want to know that somebody's life was impacted in a positive way. I have former students who tell me to this day, like, you were hard on me, and I didn't like it at the time. Here we are 5, 7 years later, and I think about, wow, had you not been in my life, I'm not sure which direction. One of my former students is living in Chicago. He's a wealth, what do you call it, wealth advisor, financial advisor is what it's called. And he and I were talking the other day. I was driving into DC for work, and he called me randomly, and he was like, "Nick, I always appreciated you." He said, "Listen, when I was my first and second year at Duke, I'm like, get me away from this man. This man is annoying. This man is hard on me, and I don't like it."
Yeah.
He said, "But then my junior and senior year, when the pandemic hit, I recognized this man was here when nobody else was. He was clapping for me when nobody else was. He was
Yeah.
showing up for me when nobody else." I don't do this work for an applause. I don't do this work for awards or recognition. I do this work because it's my purpose. It's what I was called to do. There's an old song that we sing in the church: "If I can help somebody as I pass along, then my living shall not be in vain. May the work I've done speak for me." That's what I want to do at the end of the day.
I love that.
Whatever time I have left, that's what I want to do.
Yeah.
It's just make an impact and let the work I've done speak for itself.
Wow. Well, thank you for that. That was actually inspiring for me because after this college tour, I was like, oh, God, can I do this? But that was definitely inspiring. So I love that. And I just want you to tell the people, where can they find you? If somebody's seeking mentorship, are you open to long distance mentorship if they're from Buffalo? How can people get in contact with you?
Absolutely. I'm always open to mentoring whoever, whenever. They can find me on LinkedIn. It's not updated, but LinkedIn, Nicholas Irion on Facebook, Nicholas Irion on Instagram, Nicholas Irion, everything Nicholas Irion. They
Nicholas
can find
Arion
me on
everywhere.
there, right? I'm open. Shoot me a message, and then, pass my information along, and we can set something up.
Yes. Well, thank you. This was great. And I can't wait until this episode comes out because I think that this episode was so impactful. And I just can't wait to hear more from you and hear more about what you're doing. And if there's a way that other people can get involved with the communities that you've created, we would love that. So until next time, see you later.